Hey there, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here. Today, I'm going to be doing something that I mentioned that I was going to do a little while ago. I did a video, and I'll put a tag to it up here in the corner, I guess up here in the corner, where I just kind of talked about the features of my new Big Country 4x4 tent, rooftop tent from Rugged Bound Supply Company. I've had it for another couple months now, and I've used it quite a bit, and I'm still loving it. I think it's a great tent. Yes, it's a little bit on the pricey side. It's not the cheapest tent in the world, but the construction of it is so good, it's so solid, that I definitely feel like it's going to last me for a really, really long time. Hopefully longer than I have this truck, and probably the next truck too. So again, I'm going to walk you through, on the last video I walked through all the features, I showed you around the tent, I just did kind of a walk around of the tent. This video is going to be a little shorter. On this one, I'm just going to show you how easy it is to pop this thing up and to tear it back down. It does have channels on the top of it, so as you can see, I've got traction mats mounted up there. I've also got like a gun case up there that I keep my chairs in, quite a bit of stuff up there. My chairs, my toilet, the stuff that I have to take every trip that I just want to kind of keep out of the cab of the vehicle. So I've got all that stuff on top, and despite that, these air struts just still go boop and just lift the thing right up. They're super strong. So again, super impressed with the quality of it, and just want to show you how this thing opens and how quick and easy it is to do. So let's get into it. All Things Overlanding is brought to you by Red Arc, Power Management Solutions, Rugged Bound Supply Company, rooftop tents, awnings, roof racks, and more. Overland Addict, premium overland gear. Last US Bag, overlanding bags and equipment. Northology Overland, trips, and a monthly overlanding magazine. All of these companies are really amazing, so I highly recommend you click through the links in the description below to learn more about each of them. Alright, so at the back of the tent here, you can see it's a wedge style. I've got it mounted so that the opening is in the back. There are two latches, one on each side, and then a nice little handle in the middle that makes it a lot easier to close it when you're done. It is lockable, so I do have one lock on there just to keep, somebody from messing with me and unlatching them, me driving down the highway and it opening up or something like that. I don't keep a ton of stuff in there, but I do have a sleeping bag, a wool blanket, stuff like that. So it just deters, casual thieves or people that might be wanting to, play a prank on you or something like that. I keep that key on my keychain with my truck keys so that I've always got it, because that would be really bad to go all the way out to a trip somewhere and not be able to unlock your tent. But I unlock the lock, pop the latches, I put the lock back in it just so that I don't lose it. Pop both latches. And then with an exterior, it's got the sort of a little bumper that you can stand on, which makes it a little bit easier, but really it shouldn't take much for this thing to go up, even with all the extra stuff that I've got on the top. You just kind of have to overcome that suction. So most of the time I'll just jump up here, give it a little push, and it just goes right up. So then once you've done that and you've popped it up, all you have to do is, you can see that there's that strap that goes around it. You pull that down, and there are hooks on the side here that you can hook that through so that it stays down. That's just to help suck the extra fabric in so that it's easier to close when you're ready to close it up. As you can see, this sort of tarp material here is an awning. There are two poles for it that go in these holes here on each side. But so then from there, those poles will hold that awning out, and you're all set. I keep my ladder inside of the tent too, so I'm going to climb up here on the tire. I'm going to get the ladder down, and then it has channels on the back and both sides. So you have adjustability in how you can mount the ladder to get up into the tent. Alright, so typically the order that I do it is, again, once I've got that all set up, I need to pull those elastic bands down, I need to do all that stuff. I will typically do it from the back of the truck. I am up on leveling blocks, so it is a little bit higher, but that's fine, not a big deal. I'm going to get up there, I'm going to attach all those elastic straps to show you that. And then I'm going to get the ladder out after that. There are, on the corners of the awning, there are these little loops that you also want to hook down through. They use the same hook as the elastic strap that holds the awning in. And so that just holds the corners of the tarp down so that as water runs off, it runs outside of the box instead of sitting inside of it and potentially going inside of the tent. So again, then this elastic band comes down like that to free up the fabric. Hook it through there. And then your fabric is free. Now again, my poles and my ladder are inside of the truck, so I'm going to go around to the side of the truck now. I'm going to get that stuff down. I'll set up the awning, I'll set up the ladder, and I'll show you what that all looks like. Sorry you're seeing a lot of my butt in this video, I apologize. So, but if you have big wheels and tires, it does make it a little bit easier to get up on. I always keep my screen zipped just to keep bugs out. But then I always keep the fabric sort of waterproof inner liner unzipped. And you know, if you're familiar with rooftop tents, that totally makes sense to you. But if you're not, the reason is if everything's closed, then this acts like a giant bellows. And when you're trying to open it or close it, it's gonna suck the air in. It's gonna make it way harder to open. It's gonna make it way harder to close. So I always leave my screens open, and I leave, you know, this inner fabric material down. So I'm gonna grab the ladder, and while I'm up here, I'm gonna grab the poles for the awning. There's that. Graceful, I know. All right, so like I mentioned, it took me a few tries of this to kind of get to the point. Sorry, it's humid and like 90 degrees here in Indiana. It took me a few tries to figure out how these things worked. And my biggest problem was always that I took this curved end, right? And I would loop it through the grommet, kind of like fishing a little bit. I would loop it through the grommet, and then I would try and bend it to go into that hole. And you know, I mean, it has quite a bit of tension on it, so it's pretty tough to bend. And then also I felt like I was always kind of missing, and then it would go ping and it would pop out and shoot out. So recently I figured out, and I don't know if this is a commonly known thing or not, so if it is, I apologize. But what I do now is I just stick them straight in there. So I stick the pole in there first, just straight in so that it is all the way in. And then I pull it up, I manhandle it up, and then I use it to pull out the awning. So I'm gonna do that for both of them so they're ready, and then I'm gonna climb up here and I'm gonna get the awning out. Okay. So see, when you do it that way, it's already in the hole, it's already good. Then you just have to line it up and get it in there. So then once you get those both popped up, obviously you can see it holds that awning up well away from the tent. So again, if there's any water or anything like that, it's going to run off the sides, it's going to run off the top, and you're going to stay dry inside your tent. One note is that if you're on sort of a steep downhill, which I sort of am right now, the awning poles can be a little bit tricky because they're going to be trying to push you off while you're, you know, bending them up to get to the awning. So you may want to do that either before you park, or, you know, and then maneuver it into place, or just be aware of it and have something to hold on to with one hand so you can attach the pole with the other one. But now we're all set up there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my stuff up in the tent, and we're good for the night. All right, guys, so now I just wanna show you the teardown. It's pretty much the same thing in reverse as I showed you last time. But so basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull the poles out from the awning. We're gonna throw those inside the tent. The ladder goes inside the tent too. And again, I'm just gonna show you all this stuff. Probably just one big shot here showing you everything. So pull out the poles first. And I keep mine up in the top of the tent, just because they're tiny, they don't take up a lot of room. Less stuff to keep inside the vehicle. But so once you have your poles out, you just have the elastic strap from the corner on both sides of the awning, and then the big elastic strap that kind of holds everything together. So you just do that, and then I get up on my bumper on the back of the Xterra to do this part, but I pull in the awning cover to the middle like this and just sort of overlap it. And then again, that elastic band holds it all nice and tight, which is awesome. But corners are up, everything else is in. You know, the big country 4x4, they give you this big nice strap that makes it really easy to pull down. What I do is I start to pull it down. You can see the elastic band sucking it all in, but as it's coming down, I'll kind of start to push the sides in just to make sure, fold back my awning a little bit. And then when I get to about right here, like a 10-12 inch gap, I just sort of lean over to both sides. Now my trash bag makes it a little tricky on the other side. So I'll just pull the fabric in, and like right there, it's all good. Everything's inside. So then you just pull this down, take your strap, kind of roll it up, push it inside of there, and that's it. Pull it down, grab your latches. I kind of put my body weight on top of one side to get it on there. Do the other side. Pull this one tight, latch it. Same with this one. It gets easier with the second one because you've already gotten it pulled down. Pop my lock on, and it's all done. You're ready to leave camp. Go. So that's what I love about this tent, is it's just so, it's a beautiful looking tent, right? Like, it's a great looking tent. But on top of that, it's really well made. The hinges are super heavy duty. The aluminum that it makes up the casing is 2 millimeters thick. That's really thick, guys. So it's super sturdy. If you bash it into a tree or a branch or something on a trail, it's going to hold up. The fabric is replaceable, as I mentioned in the last video, which is awesome. If anything ever happens, I get a burn or a tear in it, it's going to cost some money. It costs a few $100, I think, but you can get a new fabric kit that Velcros into the thing and you're good to go again. You've got a new tent. So anyway, so that is the tent. That's opening and closing the tent. If you guys have any questions about the tent, please post up in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you are looking for a tent like this and you want to talk to Theo, the owner of this company, I'd be happy to make an introduction and connect you to him. He's awesome. He goes above and beyond. He will do everything he can to take the best care of you possible. And so if you're looking for anything like this, mine is a slim tent, which they don't sell as many of. They do have one called the Penthouse XL that's significantly thicker, so you can store more stuff. You can put more stuff in there. That is the only sort of downside of the slim is I use a full-size memory foam pillow, and it's way too big. I can't get it in there. But that's the only downside of it for me. But in the Penthouse XL, there's a lot more room in there for bedding and things like that. That's the one that they typically sell. But again, if you have questions about it, post up in the comments below. If you want to be connected to Theo at Ruggedbound, just let me know. Otherwise, there's a link in the description below too, where you can go and check out their stuff. They've got this rooftop tent. They've got the other ones, like I mentioned, the Penthouse XL. They've got awnings. They've got roof racks. They've got drawer systems. They've got all kinds of really awesome stuff now. So I'm excited to see what else they're coming out with. But again, I hope that that's helpful for you. I hope that that gives you some information on this tent. Look forward to chatting with you guys in the comments. If you're not already, there are links to Facebook, Instagram, the podcast down in the description below as well. I'd love it if you'd come and be a subscriber over there. Come and hang out, join the conversation. There's also a link to my store. So if you're into overlanding patches, stickers, that kind of thing, definitely check that out as well. But otherwise, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.